right, Friday main event coming at you live tonight, Wednesday night, Lee. Not a normal night for us.
No, not normal.
Had Roy Diller give me a hard time. He started calling us a Wednesday main event during on Coach T. I
Oh,
said,
Lord.
I done promised the wife I'm carrying her camping this weekend, Lee, and you know as well as I. You've been married as long as I have. You make a promise to the wife, you got to hold that up.
Happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. That's exactly right. But we've got a big show tonight, Lee. We're going to try to cover classes 1A, 2A, and 3A here in the first half hour. At 6:30, we got Shelbyville head coach Justin Palmer is going to chime in with us. They got a big game with Beach. At 6:45, our buddy J.R. Kirby at Covington. He'll come on to the show with us, talk about the big matchup they got over with South Gibson. 7 o'clock, we got a first timer to the show, Josh Pucket, Lake County's head coach. Really looking forward to
Yes, sir.
talking some football with him. He's got a good shot to win the whole thing this
He's
year,
got a
Lee.
good squad.
Just to tell you, man, they're solid. And then at 7:15, we'll have the other half of that matchup. Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree will jump on with us. And again, that's a huge game here in the mid-state. So kind of, anxious to hear each one of them's take on what's going to happen Friday night.
Right.
So a good show lined up tonight, I think, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Lee, you ready to go ahead and jump right in?
Yeah, we're going to start up east.
We're going to start up east. We're going to start in Class 1. Quad 1, big matchup here, Cloudland, and the top team in all of our listings here, Lee, will be the home team just for the people tuning in so they kind of got an idea what's going on. But Cloudland, big win last week over Harriman, 28-7, host to Oliver Springs. The Bobcats were 42-6 winner over Jellicoe. What's your thoughts on this game, buddy?
I like Oliver Springs. Losses to Oneida and Greenback, and if you remember, we think a lot of Coach Ryan over there at Greenback, and he said that Oliver Springs was a real solid squad.
Right.
And that was back earlier in the year, and they've proven him to be right.
I think maybe one of their main players was out when they played Greenback. Am I remembering that right?
That's correct. It's sitting at 9-2. Had a big win last week over Jellicoe. I like Region 2. Region 2 team here, so I'm going to go Oliver Springs.
I'm going to go with you. I like them as well. The Highlanders, 6-5 now, Lee, kind of down from what their normal record would be at this point in the season, so I think they may be down a little from their norm. I'm going to go with you. I like Oliver Springs. The second half of that bracket, you got Greenback and Coalfield, Lee. The Cherokees continue to dominate. I think they've won 9 games in a row now. 45-20 was the difference in this game when they played earlier this year. Of course, this is a rematch, one of many we'll talk about tonight. But Greg Grindstein looks really good this year.
I think so too, man. And they've got potentially they've probably got 2 or 3 Division I athletes on a 1A squad. And if you look at Greenback's losses, they're to an undefeated Loudon and a 1-loss Meigs County.
Right, and that was the first 2 games of the year, right?
First 2 games of the year, and that's kind of, I think some people might have went to sleep a little bit.
Yeah,
seeing an 0-2, but I think Greenback handles Coalfield pretty easily, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going definitely going with you on that one. Cherokees, Lee. If we move on over to Quad 2, there's this Quad 2, in my opinion, is a little bit harder to pick. Maybe some. Let's go ahead and skip down to the bottom half of that bracket to start with here. You got Gordonsville, Lee Teat. Of course, they were on the road last week, and then here they are getting to host again. That's a rarity, to travel first week and then get to come and host a second round game. But that's what they're going to get to do, and the reason why that is because obviously Whitwell at 2-8, now 3-8, pulled the big upset last week over Monterey, which is undefeated.
Unbelievable. I did not get that game correct in my picks. I did get Gordonsville over Copper Basin. I tell you what, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Tigers of Gordonsville again this week.
Well, you talked, you and I had, we talked to Scott Clemens when we were at South Pittsburgh a few weeks ago.
Right.
and we thought they were in a position where they were starting to get healthy. A lot of the younger kids got a lot of experience, but you really could say the same thing about Whitwell. They were
That's true.
very young to start the season. Again, they knocked off an undefeated Monterey team last week, so you
That did
can't.
beat Gordonsville.
That did beat Gordon exactly. So, man, this is a tough one for me, Lee. I kind of scratched my head on this one all week, to be honest with you. Was that, and they were on the road last week, so this would be 2 weeks in a row. They got to
Right.
come over here to the mid-state. I'm gonna split that one with you, Lee Teat. I'm gonna go with the Tigers.
I just found it interesting that Coach Clemens was watching South Pitt. I think he knew something
Yeah.
about his squad, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Gville again. We'll see what happens,
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the majority of the folks are going with them.
especially at home.
I guess if anything, I'm splitting this one for you just for the sake of splitting it. So I think I agree with you. Gordonsville was definitely the favorite in this game, but who knows? I mean they were a 4 seed, knocked off a undefeated 1 seed. Maybe that punched them a little bit. Got them woke up. Clay County travels to South Pittsburgh. Lee. The other half of this bracket, Jake Johnson's done a really good job with that Clay County squad. They're sitting at 8-3 now. But I got a big order here going to South Pittsburgh. Tough place to play, especially when the Vic Riders team is playing as good as they are now.
That's right. I got South Pittsburgh in this game. Clay County, though, they've got a really good staff. Coach Dickerson from Smith County left as the head coach up there, and he's on the Clay County staff now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's a very good defensive-minded coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think South Pitt's going to get this ball game, but I'd be interested. I'm kind of anxious to see what the score is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're going Pirates, though, right?
Yes, sir, Pirates.
Definitely in agreement on that one. Looking down at Quad 3, Lee, you got Huntland hosting McEwen. This is a really tough game to pick right here.
Sure is.
I struggled with this one all week as well. Bob Robertson's team, big win last week over Brewston, 28-0, and then McEwen, of course, knocked out Mount Pleasant 42-21. Mount Pleasant playing a lot better. I thought Coach Bradley's team was healthy finally.
I think I took Mount Pleasant.
I think I did too, Lee. To be honest with you, I can't remember for sure which way I went on that one. But how do you see the Huntland game going?
Man, I don't have a good feel on it. I'm gonna go McEwen, but I think it's just out of sheer strength of schedule. Maybe is what I'm looking at. Maybe a little tougher schedule than Huntland.
Yeah, their losses were to Houston County, Stewart's County, and Huntington. Of course, Huntland's losses were Eagleville, Moore County, and South Pitt. So, Huntland had some pretty tough games in there. I hate to pick against Naked Bob, but
I'm gonna go McEwen on the road. I don't know, man. I don't have a good feel for this game, but
yeah,
that win over Mount Pleasant kind of might have sealed the deal for me in this game.
That's what swung me as well. Mount Pleasant, I think, I thought had a good shot at winning that one, and they weren't even in the game. 21-point victory. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with the Warriors and McEwen in this one. Huntington hosts Cornersville. This is a rematch of the last. I think this will be the third year in a row these two teams have played. Normally it's in the quarterfinal round. In the second round this year, I don't think Coach Randolph's Bulldogs have got a shot at it this time, though, Lee. What's your thoughts?
I think they'll be competitive in the ball game, but I think Huntington's got too much talent. Way too much talent, and I think they're scoring at a torrid pace.
Yeah.
Put points up on anybody. I like Huntington at home.
I do too. Cornersville, 31-10 winner over Collinwood last week. Of course, Huntington got another shutout win over Richland. Richland very happy to be in the postseason.
Yes, good job too by them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go with you, Lee. I like Huntington to win this game, and I like them to win this quad. Moving down to quad 4, Mr. Teat, and we've got Lake County. Of course, again, we'll have Coach Pucket on with us a little bit later, hosting the MASE. Got any thoughts on this one, buddy?
Straight up Lake County, man.
no need to spend a lot of time on this one, is it?
Yeah, I like Lake County.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised. I took Greenfield.
I did too.
In that ball game. I
Mm-hmm.
thought they might have a little something for them, but it's at Lake County,
Yeah,
and I like that home field advantage for the Falcons.
I do too. I'm gonna go with you. I like Lake County. Bottom half of that bracket, Lee, Middle College at 10-1 hosts West Carroll. Middle College's only loss was to Greenfield, uh, and of course West Carroll defeated Greenfield. So logic would dictate you go West Carroll here, doesn't it?
I would think so. I would think so. The West Carroll's strength of schedule, they lost to McKenzie, so a bigger school. Gibson County, Houston County, and then Lake County, who we just talked about. I may go West Carroll. You leaning that way?
I like them. Jeremiah Bryant had a huge game last week. He ran for 367 yards and 4 TDs. Lee Teat on 17 carries. That's a pretty darn good average right there.
Yeah, it's over 20 yards a pop. Pretty good.
So I'm going to go with the War Eagles. I like the War Eagles to beat the 1 seed Middle College in this one.
I like it.
You going with it too?
Yes, sir.
All right, Lee Teat. So that's going to conclude the discussion on Class 1A. We're
So
going to
we
move.
Split only on Whitwell, Geville.
I think so. And I actually probably shouldn't have split with you on that one, but
I don't know.
you never know. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, Lee. Again, we're on kind of a tight time frame here, so we're going to go on in straight into quad 1 in Class 2, and that looks like this. You've got Hampton, the Region 1 champs hosting Oneida. What's your thoughts on that one, Mr. Cheat?
This one's kind of gave me trouble a little bit.
Well, Oneida defeated Sullivan North 35-0, and then Hampton had a shutout as well, 50-0 over Cumberland Gap. Michael Lunsford's got this Hampton team playing really good right now, but so does Tony Lambert. His squad looks equally as good.
Yep. Hampton's losses are the GP 3A squad
Uh-huh.
in Happy Valley.
Right.
It's at Hampton, correct?
That's correct.
But Oneida's losses are to Greenback, Meigs County, Upperman,
And Coalfield.
and Coalfield. I don't know, man.
Tough pick here.
That's what I told you. 2A and 5A is giving me trouble.
2A's
I'm
tough.
gonna go Hampton at home.
On Hampton at home, that's probably a smart pick, Lee. I'm gonna go Oneida just because I've kind of been on the Indians all year. That Coalfield loss, a little bit of a head scratcher for me, but I'm gonna stick with them. I'm gonna go with them. Go Oneida. Meigs County hosts South Green.
What a second round matchup.
tough,
Two
isn't
10-1 teams in the second round.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
That's tough. South Green's only loss was to that Hampton team you just picked. A shutout loss 30-0, which got to make you feel a lot better about that pick. And then Meigs County, their only loss was to South Pittsburgh, game which you and I took in and
Correct. That's correct.
watched. Who you like in this one?
Buddy, I'm going to go Meigs County.
Meigs County. All right.
At home.
I'm gonna go with you, Lee. I'm gonna go Meigs County as well.
Too much
Ooh, well, my face got windburned today. I was outside getting ready for the camp out.
cutting firewood.
Yeah.
Too much of the quarterback for Meigs, Mr. Football, Swafford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too much of him.
All right, Lee. Moving on to Quad 2. Oops, that's the wrong class. Quad 2, 2A.
There we go.
And we've
this
got,
one is one gave me trouble.
Yeah, this is a tough game right here.
Yes.
A lot of people we know, of course we know more Trousdale people, think this is, they're already looking ahead at Watertown rematch next week. But we thought Wayne Turner's team was very good preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at who they've lost to, Lee. They've lost to Howard, they've lost to Alcoa, and they've lost to a very good Division II Baylor team. So, I don't think this is just a given that you hand this game to Trousdale.
I don't either. I like Trousdale. I'm going to go with the Jackets.
Yeah.
But, man, this may come right down to who has the ball last.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think they won this game 35-0 last year. I didn't look it up. That seems to be right.
That's correct.
And but I agree with you. I'm going to go with Trousdale in this one. I don't really have a good reason why. I mean, you can't say you got better coaching. Wayne Turner's an excellent coach.
Well, they're 2 or 3 years removed.
You probably got more athletes, or you probably got. I don't want to say more. You probably maybe top end athletes probably got more of those at
Yeah.
Tyner. I
Well,
would
I
say.
think Tyner can match up with Trousdale County athletically.
Yeah, I do
You
too.
know, it's going.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be shocked.
Yeah.
Uh, like I said, this may come down to who's got the ball last.
It's a coin flip, I think, Lee, and especially with Tyner being at home. But I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Yellow Jackets in this one. Bottom half of the bracket, you got Watertown hosting Bledsoe County. Purple Tigers have looked really good. The only losses were to Nolensville and Upperman this season, Lee.
Yeah, I like Watertown.
Any shot?
I think they walk.
I think they walk.
Yes,
Bledsoe County 28-6 winner over East Robertson last week. Kobe Rogers, the running back at Bledsoe, had a big game, 193 yards rushing, 2 TDs in that East Robertson game. And we're getting all these stats from tnhighschoolfootball.com, courtesy of our good buddy Donovan Stewart.
Yeah, I don't think he gets 100 yards this week.
No,
I
I
think
don't think
Watertown
so.
defensively is very good. I'm going to go Tigers at home. Purple Tigers.
I'm going to go with you as well, Lee. I like that pick. Now, if we look at quad 3, Mr. Teat, Forest hosting Eagle. This is a rematch. These two teams played earlier in the season. I think we were actually at that game, were we not, Lee? Forest won that first meeting 28-7. They've beat Portland, Summertown, Lewis County. Pretty solid year for the Rockets so far. Eagleville has matured a lot.
They have, and they got the quarterback back.
Got the quarterback back. They lost to Forest, Lewis County, and Mount Pleasant, but again, they beat a one-loss Houston County team last week. I think they came from behind to win that game, Lee.
They did 8-7. I think the issue here for me with the Eagleville is this is a huge matchup problem. Forest offense, the style of offense they run, I think it just presents a ton of problems for Eagleville's defense. I'm going to go Rockets.
I'm going to go Rockets too, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Eagleville pull out the upset here.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be a lot closer game than that first contest, 28-7. I think we're looking at a 3 to 7 point game this time. What you think about that?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably 21-17, 21-14 type game. But
yeah.
I think like I said, I think the issue for me when we were watching the first game is Eagleville had trouble up front against them.
Yeah, that's true. Waverly hosts Riverside, Lee. This is another rematch. Just 2 weeks ago, these two teams played. Riverside lost that game 21-10 to Randall Bolden's Waverly Tigers. Now Riverside, in my opinion, pulled a pretty good upset last week, 14-9 over Lewis County.
That's right.
Waverly beat Summertown 39-22. Thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna go Waverly at home, Tigers at home, but you know sometimes, man, when you play a team twice,
it's hard to beat them twice.
Hard to beat a team twice.
Yep.
And that's especially coming off a win over Lewis County, but did they use everything they had to get past Lewis County?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come out flat?
I don't know. That's a good question. Johnny Frost will have his hands full tonight because I think Waverly's tough to beat at home, first of all. And
I'm going to go Tigers, Waverly.
I'm going to go Tigers also. But this game, again, this may be another game pretty closely. So that's really I meant to mention this, though. This is kind of an unusual quad here in that both 3 seeds knocked off the 2 seeds.
That's right.
So you're seeing a rematch between a 1 and a 3 seed in both halves of that quad. You don't see that very often. Thought that was kind of a weird draw there. Lee, moving on down 2A quad 4, and that's shaped up like this. You got our 2A favorites, Peabody, Coach Jacob's squad. Man, they have they've done just as we thought they would do, and that's totally dominate everybody they played. 38-0 over MAHS last week. If they take on McKenzie team, and the McKenzie team, I've been high on lead. Matter of fact, I picked them to beat Mitchell last week, if you'll remember.
You did.
28-6 winner over Mitchell. But Peabody first meeting 42-0 in this game. I think McKenzie's a very, very good football team, but I just don't think anybody's going to hang with Peabody.
No, Golden Tide.
Golden Tide. I like Shane Jacobs' team to advance to the quarters here and take on yet to be determined Fairleigh hosting Union City. Darren Bowley's squad playing better. Had a shootout last week, 46-38 over Douglas, and then fairly shut out an improved Adamsville team, 36-0. So, what's your thoughts on this one?
Man, this has kind of threw me for a loop too. Uh, I don't know, Mike. I like Union City in this ball game. I think Coach Bowling is a playoff coach.
Yeah, that's true.
He's been in a lot of games like this. I think he's going to come out and they run that flex bone. I think he's just going to try to keep the ball away from Fairleigh. But Fairleigh's 2 losses are to some quality squads.
Yeah.
MUS is a Division II powerhouse out of Memphis.
Right.
But I'm going to go Union City in a close one.
All right. Well, you kind of surprised me a little bit on that one. Adamsville and Union City played almost dead even this year. And I was kind of with you on Union City till I saw how bad Fairleigh handled Adamsville, 36-0. That kind of.
But is this, sometimes it's a matchup.
Yeah, it may
type
be.
Deal.
It may be. It may be.
I think Coach Bowling's going to try to keep it low scoring.
Yeah, but he ain't had much luck with that this year,
Grind
Lee.
it out.
He had a team that didn't even make the playoffs put up 60-something points on him. His defense just hasn't played very well this year, period.
That's true.
I'm going to go Fairleigh in this one. I'm going to split with you.
All right.
All right, Mr. Teat, 1A, 2A in the books. We are looking at Class 3A and this Quad 1. Not a lot of surprises here.
No.
This is Austin East hosting Kingston, and this was a Region 2 sweep last week. I think you predicted that. I think I had Kingston. I was a coin toss on Kingston, but they wound up losing that game. Like I said, you picked that. But that was 28-6 over Chucky Doak. I think this week the 2 dominant teams in the region are gonna coast. Austin East takes Kingston down pretty easy.
I think so.
And
Road Runners, and then obviously I think Alcoa.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Now the first meeting, Lee, with Kingston, it was 34-22. Austin East won, so they did score a lot of points. But you got to remember, Austin East was coming off of that shutout loss to Alcoa, so I don't want to read a lot into that meeting based on the time when it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anytime you get your butt spanked by Alcoa, that's going to affect you the next week. I don't care who you are. So I think Austin East, Alcoa, big wins here in Quad 1. Looking down Quad 2, Mr. T, let me get that one up for the viewers. And we've got Loudon and Smith County. Loudon, man.
Coach Herrick's team playing a lot out.
They are playing very good football right now. Of course, they did beat Red Bank earlier in the battle of undefeated teams a couple of weeks ago. Do the Owls have a chance in this one?
No.
You could have kind of built it up a little bit there, buddy. Talked them up a little. That is your home turf over there.
Yeah,
you're a realist, ain't you?
I'd love to see them go on the road down there to Loudon, but man, anytime you got a squad that's beat Greenback and Red Bank, who's sitting at 9-1, I just can't see it. I think they got too much.
I agree with you, brother. I like the Redskins of Loudon. Are you allowed to? I'm surprised they haven't been forced to change that name.
Yeah.
It's oversensitive society we live in.
Yeah.
Upperman, big win last week, 45-0 over Signal Mountain. Hosts Red Bank, 21-0 winner over Mark Wattenbarger's Sequatchie squad. Thoughts? This could be the game in 3A.
I think it is. Actually, I talked to my buddy Trev earlier in the week, and he's going up doing some hunting up in East Tennessee, and he said on his way home he might swing in and watch this game.
I don't blame him.
And I said that would probably be one good one to watch. I'm going to go Upperman at home, but I could completely see Red Bank winning this game because their only loss is to a Loudon squad.
Right, and of course Upperman's only loss was to a good Livingston Academy team, Bruce Lamb's squad. So this should be a good one. Adam Kane's done a heck of a job there at Upperman since he came over a couple of years ago. I think he was 13-1 last year. They're sitting at 10-1 now. So
who you got?
I'm going Upperman.
Going Bees at home?
Yeah, I'm going Bees at home. I'm
Baxter Bees?
Yep, I got them. All right, Lee. Ready to move on to quad 3.
Let's roll with
Let
it.
me get that up. Quad 3. Whew.
Yeah, buddy.
That was a Region 5 sweep, and we did expect that. We give our buddy Coach Hughes the benefit of the doubt last week, give him the heart pick, but I honestly felt like Giles County would probably get them, and they did. This is a tough region right here, Lee. This Region
Well, they're
5.
all
We
familiar
knew
with each other.
preseason they were going to be really good, didn't we?
Yeah, they're all familiar with each other. This Pearl Cone East Nashville, you couldn't have had a worse second round meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both playing extremely well. I hate to see one of these teams have to go out in the second round, man.
I do too. I think quarterback Martino Owens has really been the biggest difference for Pearl Cone this year,
Yeah,
Lee.
he's just a junior. You got to be happy about that, Coach Brunetti.
Yep.
And he's stingy.
23 TDs, 3 interceptions.
I'm going to go Pearl at home.
Pearl's played a tough schedule, Lee. They beat Cane Ridge, they beat MBA, they beat Indy, and of course they beat East Nashville and Stratford, along with Giles County. All these regions, they were undefeated in region. Well, they're undefeated overall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I like Pearl Cone, and I think the fact Pearl Cone's been a team that's kind of gotten upset the last 2 or 3 years. Everybody expected them to run to Cookeville the last 2 years, and somebody's jumped up and got them both years. I think Stratford got them last year, and I think Covington, Marty Wheeler's bunch got them 2 years ago. This may be the year they go all the way.
Could very well be.
I like the Firebirds. Second half of that bracket, Lee, Stratford and our buddy James Moore, maybe the best running back in 3A. I don't know how you could argue that fact. 216 yards last week, 4 TDs in that win over Camden. Giles County traveling to Stratford. I think Stratford won the first meeting 22-6. What's your thoughts on this one?
I like Stratford. Like you said, I like James Moore. As long as he can stay healthy, in this ball game, I think it's too much of him. He's just too hard to stop.
He is, and everybody comes in with a game plan to shut him down. Just nobody's been able to do it, Lee.
Yeah, I need to try to find out. I hadn't found out how many total yards he's got on the season, but he's
way up there.
He's way up. I mean,
he's over 2,000.
Yeah, he pushes 200 yards a game.
Yeah, he's over 2,000. I'm pretty sure of that. I meant to look that up and I forgot.
Yeah, I like the Spartans at home.
All right, Lee. Well, that's going to conclude Quad 3. Let's look at Quad 4 quickly as we're closing in on the time to get Coach Palmer on with us. Quad 4, Lee, you got South Gibson, the host in Covington. Of course, we'll talk to J.R. Kirby here shortly. Tough game to pick. That was a 20-13 win by South Gibson. South Gibson's only loss this year, Lee, was by 1 point to Haywood County, and they played a pretty darn tough schedule.
They did. But I think Covington goes on the road and gets this win.
You think so?
I do.
They lost to South Gibson, Milan, back-to-back weeks. Both were 7-point losses. I don't want to put the hex on him, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna go.
Seems like every time I pick him, I put the hex on him.
I'm gonna go Covington.
You going Covington?
Yep. Like I said, it's hard to beat the same team twice, and they lost by 7.
Well,
I think Coach Kirby.
I told you before we sat down here I was going Covington too, but I tell you what, I'm not going to put the voodoo on him. I'm going to go with South Gibson, the Hornets.
That's probably what favorite.
Yeah, they are. They're the favorite on Coach T Big Ones contest, but I think this is a flip 'em, to be honest with you, Lee. Yep. You got to remember though, the first meeting was at Covington, and now South Gibson's at home, so that might swing a little bit better in their favor as well. Wooddale, Lee, a game I missed last week. I predicted that Region 7 sweep. They knocked off Westview 54-14. Good Wooddale team hosting Milan. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna go Wooddale at home.
Wooddale at home. I'm gonna go with you, brother. I think they're. I'm not gonna let them get me 2 weeks in a row. They got a pretty good.
Well, Milan's schedule's tough, but I like Wooddale.
I'm gonna go with them also. Cardinals playing pretty good football right now. All right, Lee. Let's put the schedules up for Shelbyville while I get the coach on the phone. And again, this is Friday main event. I am Mike Mulder. He is Lee T. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're getting to the better part of the show now where you ain't got to listen to us the whole time. We got 4 good coaches lined up, so stand by. We'll be back with them in just a minute. All right, we are back here Friday main event. We are talking second round playoff coverage. Lee Teat and I have just covered classes 1A, 2A, and 3A. We're going to go to the coaching segment of the show now. Give you guys a little break from us. We got one of our good friends, Coach Justin Palmer of Shelbyville, on with us. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's pretty chilly out there at practice today. Not as bad as yesterday, but so warming up a little bit right now, but doing pretty good.
Y'all did get at least one day in the Calsonic Arena over there, didn't you?
We did. That was yesterday. It was brutal outside, so a big shout out to them for
Uh-huh.
letting us come over and use that. But and that was a cool experience for the players. They thought that was really neat. So it was fun, and it was a good way to kind of focus in on what we were doing without the distraction of I'm freezing to death out here, coach. Can we just hurry up?
Right, right. Well, let's hit the rewind button, man. Let's go back. First season, you guys had lost a quarterback that had over 8,200 career yards, 87 TDs. You lost a receiver, 1,600-yard receiver. Your best returning receiver transferred to Blackman. Did you see this type of season as a possibility back then?
I'm a very I'm a big time overreactor. So every time something bad happens, some of the coaches were joking to me about it today about how, at one point I said, "Oh boys, if we can just win 6 games," and then it was, if we can win 8, and then it was, well, if we can just win the first round, and now it's, let's just keep playing. So it's been kind of a roller coaster for me too, as far as what my expectations were for this team. But with this group of seniors and just really the type of team we've got, the type of kids and the buy-in that we have, I mean, they haven't really surprised me. They're a good group. They're fun to be around. And our guys have made progress throughout the year. Cade's made a lot of. He's not Grayson, and he never tried to be Grayson,
Hmm.
but he just made that progress that we needed him to make throughout the year, and he does so many other things well that Grayson really didn't do. So I think his progress has been something really fun to watch, and I know our fans and supporters who have been there have enjoyed watching his progress too. And then at receiver, I think we're better overall.
Mm-hmm.
It was Arias having 111 catches last year was a big time deal, but we didn't need anybody to have 111 catches on their own. We just needed them to all make plays when the ball came their way, and those guys have done that this year.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, you had a near perfect game last week against Hillsboro with passing and rushing numbers were almost even. You're +2 in the turnovers, and you shut them out on the defensive side of the ball. You know, most coaches looking at that are like, man, and fans are looking, that's a pretty perfect game. But if is there an area on your team that you still think you might need a little bit of improvement?
Yeah, we played well. I'm not afraid to say that. We
Right.
definitely played one of our best games. I know Hillsboro was 5-5, but man, they had lost to 5 really, really
That's
good
right.
Right.
teams.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they were really talented, and we were 0-14 against them. So it was one of those you don't you don't believe it until it's all zeros on the scoreboard and you're winning at the end. So um, I I I don't think we played that perfect game yet. As far as places to improve, just consistency on the offense, I think,
Right.
is an area. And then at times we have letdowns on defense where we don't line up right or we kind of lose focus or miss a tackle or something like that. And I know that's nitpicking a little bit, but man, there wasn't a whole lot else to say
Mm-hmm.
Friday night besides letting them have a couple big plays here or there. But I mean, our defense has played outstanding all year, and that always is going to give you a chance to win when they play like that.
That's right.
Well, Coach, you've got a team Friday night. We've had at our number one all season. Beat almost always among the Final Four. 8 teams standing year in and year out. Their strength, to me, I think, has always been running the ball. Do you feel that plays into your strength as a team defensively?
Yeah, I think we're a good run stopping team, but this is a whole different animal than anything else we've seen this year. So it's one thing to stop the run against some of the teams that were on our schedule, but to stop the run against somebody like Beach is different, and it'll be our greatest challenge yet for sure. Because they're players. One thing about them that I respect a lot is their kids just know how to win,
Yeah.
and they're not afraid of the big moment, and um, they're really talented, but they're gritty and hard nosed, and they really play hard. They give great effort. That was something that stood out on film and always stands out with them. Obviously, Coach Crabtree does a great job up there with those guys, but it'd definitely be a big challenge for our defense to contain their run game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, I felt Region 5 looked great last week. Page won as expected, but the 2 and 3 games were dominated by you guys and then Summit over the tough Gallatin squad. And even Columbia, I thought looked good against Beach, holding on to 6 points. You agree? You feel like that validated the fact that this region's probably one of the best in the state?
Yeah, I think so. When we had our region meeting, that was kind of a topic of discussion around the table. Was this might be our year as far as our region, and it's about time because this other region has really held the upper hand on us for a while, and it's tough for them not to when you got Gallatin Beach and Hillsborough as the top three year in and year out, and then there's you throw in somebody in the fourth spot that's always really talented too. But I was happy for Summit, Coach Coleman, and that's good for our region. And yes, like you said, Columbia, Coach Hoth, they had a great game plan against Beach and gave us some good film to watch. And I knew they were going to have some success against Beach, especially defensively, because I felt like Columbia's front was one of the best we saw all year.
True. Mike Moulder and Lee Teat talking Golden Eagle football with Shelbyville head coach Justin Palmer. Coach, you kind of hit on it a little bit earlier in the interview, but let's talk a minute about my adopted son, Cade Cunningham. I've known the Cunninghams, the whole family my whole life. I watched a very timid Cade back in the summer in a scrimmage with Gallatin. He just wasn't real sure of himself. I was thinking at the time, I don't know if this kid's ready for the starting role, but it seemed like, when I watched you guys against Tullahoma in week one, probably the second half of that Tullahoma game, it seemed like to me the light bulb came on, things started clicking. Talk about his progression as a starting quarterback this year.
Yeah, it's always tough when you're a sophomore and you come in and you're nervous, and even though you know you're the guy, there's still a lot of nerves that come with that, and I've seen it in the two other quarterbacks that we've had that have been 3-year starters here. One of them being his brother, and the other one being Grayson, and
Mm-hmm.
all really talented guys. And the key is always you got to play within yourself, and you got to do what you're good at, and not try to do too much. And then it's always different for me too. and the staff as far as calling plays and putting him in a position where he's able to do the things that he's really good at, and he's not forced to do the things that he's still working on. So it's just always a period of time there where the coaching staff and the new quarterback has to mesh together and figure out what works best and how to approach things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, one thing that I really like about this squad that is actually, I think is a big help to Cade as being a sophomore is your backfield with Caleb Marsh and DeMarcus Smalls. They've complemented each other very well this year. And it seems like if one's not producing, the other one steps his game up. Talk a little bit about those kids in your Eagle rushing attack.
Yeah, those two have. It's been a rough year with Caleb because he's been injured so much, and Demarcus really stepped up. Now Caleb's finally getting healthy again, so to have them both playing finally together it has been great. But Demarcus really stepped up when we needed him to, and we wouldn't be where we are right now if he hadn't stepped up and been able to take over while Caleb was getting better. But Caleb is super talented. They both are. And Caleb finally looked back to his old self last week against Hillsborough. He had 98 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So that was a bit of redemption for him, and we were all excited to see him finally get back out there.
Well, Coach, also, you got Gary Smith there, your big Duke commitment, and he gets a lot of attention, but a couple of kids that we haven't talked about yet that I think, is a huge contributor to your team is two seniors in Slade Simmons and Mason Wright. I like their willingness to play whatever role you ask them. Talk a little bit about those two guys.
Yeah, Gary's a decent player, and he's
Yeah,
all right, I guess. No, Gary's phenomenal, yes, but we have so many guys that are really good players for us. Slade and Mason, tough kids. Love coaching those guys. They can do everything, and they will do everything.
that's
That
right.
that's the best part of it. There's a lot of guys that play football and that you'll have on your team year in and year out that can do a lot of things, but will they? And those two will do anything that they can to help this team win. Myson Day is another one that's in that group with them that does a lot for us and has really come on strong here at the end of the year too. So, to have guys like Mason, and Slade that can and will do anything is that's what makes a good team though when you got guys like that.
Well, Coach Palmer, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight, buddy. Lee and I are big fans of yours. I especially like the way you've been able to develop those young quarterbacks, man. You've got a knack for that. I don't know if I've told you that before, but I'm really impressed with the job you've done with Cade this year.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been fun, especially being able to coach his brother for 3 years and
Mm-hmm.
then having him now and Grayson in between those two, man. I've been very lucky to have some really good quarterbacks come through here. But I love working with quarterbacks. I could do that all day, every day. But it's a lot easier when you got guys that are good.
That's right. Well, Coach, good luck to you Friday night, buddy. We'll be watching that game. I think it's on TV, isn't it?
It is,
All
it
right.
is.
We'll
So should be a good one.
we'll be rooting you on, brother. Good luck to you, and appreciate you talking to us.
All right, thanks, guys.
All
See
right.
y'all.
See you, Coach. Lee, I wasn't kidding. That dude does a really good job with these young quarterbacks, man. If you had seen Cade, and Cade's a phenomenal athlete, and I knew he would get there.
Oh, yeah.
I knew he would
Well,
get
it's in
there.
his blood.
It's in his blood, right? His mom, dad are really, really good athletes. His whole family are real good athletes. I knew he'd get there, but when I saw him in the scrimmages back in the summer, I went and watched scrimmages. I was like, man, there's no way he's going to be ready. And then I went to that first game against Tullahoma, man, and he kind of struggled there the first half. But like I told Coach, second half, man, it was like, it was the
Well,
difference between
too,
night and day.
yeah, and I probably, seeing some different looks from different teams, and then as everybody talks about, even in any sport, when you're young, at some point the game starts slowing down,
Right.
and once that game starts slowing down, you could see his athleticism and his knowledge of the game and his bloodline basically coming out.
Don't get cocky, boy. You got to keep working hard. This is from your stepdad, just to let you know. Oh, yeah, I love him. I love him. Love his family, man. They're good people. All right, Lee, let's take a quick break, and we'll get our good buddy J.R. Kirby on the phone. This is a Friday main event. Mike Mulder and Lee Teat will be back after this. Hey, folks, I want to talk to you a minute about our title sponsor, CoachT.com. We appreciate Jim Thompson and all the guys over at Coach T joining up with us. We'll be partnered with them for the second consecutive year. So Friday main event, we're honored to be associated with such a great website. If you're into high school sports, whether you play, you have a child that plays, or an ordinary fan, CoachT.com is a place you need to check out. And it's not just football. I mean, football is probably the biggest reason people visit CoachT.com. But if you have a kid into any other sport, softball, baseball, basketball, golf, soccer, if it's a high school sport, most likely you're going to find some information on CoachT.com. But what I want to talk to you about in particular is the Coach T Plus membership, which I happen to be a part of. For the second year in a row, the Coach T Plus membership will be donation-based. So you decide what Coach T is worth to you. That's what's so great about the website. You can make as much commitment to the website as you feel comfortable with. Now, myself, I'm on the website, multiple times a day, as a matter of fact. So, I feel like I owe it to the website and I owe it to Coach T to make a nice donation, and hopefully you guys will feel that commitment as well. We do want to keep the website running. Many of us get a lot of enjoyment out of the website, but the Plus membership, you get access to certain boards that you don't have as just a regular member of Coach T. So that's one reason to join the Plus membership. Another reason is you're kind of the captain of your team. You're in charge of the scheduling, or I should say the correction. If there's any corrections need to be made to the schedules, any corrections need to be made to the scores that are reported, you have the ability to do that. And that's what the Coach T Plus membership, it kind of provides you a certain degree of ownership into the website. So please check it out, man. It's on the front page. You go to the home page, again, CoachT.com. There's a tab right there where you can click and become a Coach T Plus member. And just because you are now, don't assume you are forever. That is a one-year membership, so you need to double check, make sure your membership has not expired. Again, from the Friday main event, we appreciate CoachT.com and hope you guys appreciate them as much as we. All right, Lee T, we are back. Friday main event. We are covering second round playoff coverage. We talked about classes 1A, 2A, and 3A. And one of us didn't pick Covington. I don't remember who that was. I forgot which one of us didn't do that. But we've got Covington head coach J.R. Kirby on with us. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
I'll go ahead and tell you, I was the one that didn't pick. I didn't want to jinx you, man. It seems like every time I pick you in a close game, it just doesn't work out. So I told Lee I'm not going to jinx you this week.
Well, let's hope that works out on Friday night. We need all the help we can get. I probably should against a very, very good South Gibson team.
Well, Coach, let's talk about another team for a minute here before we get started. And I know you're a big LSU fan. I guess you pretty excited about that big win you guys had last Saturday, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was in attendance in the game. I actually got on TV just for a second. Those kids here saw me on TV. They've been making fun of me all week. Said I looked nervous. I said I was nervous. Alabama was coming back, but man, it was just a trip of a lifetime, and it was not a cheap ticket. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and went down there, and man, it was a great atmosphere. It's the first time I've ever been to Bryant-Denny, but and I guess I brought the good luck to the Tigers because that's the first time we beat them in 8 years. Man, it was a great night and great night to be a Tiger, and hopefully Friday night we'll keep that going and be a great night to be a Charger.
Well, I think about the only way you could have had that LSU win, if it'd been any sweeter, would have been if you'd had your good buddy Marty Wheeler sitting right there with you to enjoy that victory, wasn't it?
Yeah, if he'd have been there with me, he'd have been even better. I tried to call him on the way home. He didn't answer. I had a long 4-hour drive back to Tennessee, and I tried to call my good buddy Coach Wheeler, but I couldn't get him. I'm sure that when Alabama loses, it seems like cell service goes out in the Wheeler household. They forget to pay their bill. I'm not really sure, but I'll be talking to him soon. That's for sure.
He ain't talking to me either, so don't feel too bad.
Well, Coach Kirby, you know, you got 2 losses this year by a combined 14 points. One of them's to South Gibson. You're going to get opportunity Friday to avenge that loss. You know, what'd you take away from the first game against the Hornets that you think you'll be able to better prepare for them this time?
Well, I mean, you can back up to the Milan game. We went and played them. Milan got after us pretty good. Their defense is one of the best in the region, if not state. I know they lost some close games, but man, they got after us. We didn't even score an offensive touchdown that night. We ran the opening kickoff back, and they exposed some things that I was worried about with our young offensive line. We couldn't get them kicked out. We couldn't get them blocked down. And we had to come in as a staff and after the game and that weekend, and we had a bye week going into South Gibson and reevaluate what we were doing. We lost a couple of linemen that night and the week before, and we've been wing T here forever. And the thing is, if you can't kick them out and you can't block them down, there's no need to continue doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. And we struggled that night, and we went to more an option scheme. The thing is, some people, that's been the topic of discussion around here in Covenant, because we've always been wing T. The thing is, we just didn't change. We're not doing something that I don't know how to coach. I coached it at Mumford when we won. I know how to coach this offense. We did it leading up to the state championship game last year, and we had to put our kids in the best position to win because you've heard Coach Wheeler before me say, we're not this type of coaches or that type of coach. We're going to do what we have to win ball games. So for 2 weeks, we worked hard on some our wing T stuff and with some option stuff going into South Gibson. And I thought we executed pretty well for most of the night. The one thing that killed us in the game is penalties, which were all legit, and it gave us some big runs, and then the special teams. We had a bad punt, and our punter kneeled it on the 9 and gave them great field position. You can't give them field position, which I thought we lost all night. And then they made some adjustments on defense. They put their big D tackle Paxton Terry. He's a senior. He's like 6'5", 230. I think he's playing in the East-West game with Coach Stidham, and he's a great player, man. He put him over our center, and we had a very hard time blocking him and things like that. And but I saw some good things that night that we done, and I thought we were on the right track of doing some good things. And like I said, we've adjusted since then, and we went into playing McNary, a team that beat Milan with the same system, and we adjusted, and we got a big win there. So it seems like we're getting better and we're learning more of it. Ruffin's doing a better job of it. And, of course, Andrew Scott's kind of been our workhorse for us and things like that. But, I mean, they're a really good football team, South Gibson. We're going to have to play perfect football on the road to beat them. Very senior-loaded team. They do a great job. Coach Stidham and his staff do a great job, and they've done a great job this year, and that's why they're region champions. They don't beat themselves. They're not turning the ball over. They play extremely, extremely hard on both sides of the ball. I told him earlier when I talked to him, they may be, you look out there and they've got some good kids, no doubt, but they're going to try to out-hit you and they're going to out-hustle you. And they may be the hardest working team that I ever seen on Friday night. You should see them play. They run to the ball on defense like nobody's business. Really? And that's how they're coached, man. They're just a great football team. And we're going to play well to get them.
Well, you look at this whole Region 7, I look at y'all's side of the bracket. I mean, heck, you mentioned McNary. Here they are 7-3, not even in the playoffs, which to me is crazy. I'd say they probably would beat more than half the teams still in, the playoffs. But Region 5 and Region 7, I thought top to bottom, man, that's two of the better, if not the best regions in the state. How do you think those two regions stack up?
Oh, man, it's tough. It's brutal. I mean, I said it to a couple people before, a couple other things to the paper here and things like that, the last 2 years, we've kind of had two really good senior classes, and we've kind of been the senior loaded team around here for the last 2 years. That's not the case this year. We have 14 seniors, but significantly 5 to 7, give or take, play significant roles on Friday night. These other guys, I think South Gibson's got 20-plus seniors. McNary had 21 seniors. Milan's got a mixed bag. They got some young talent, and they've got a lot of seniors playing for them in some key positions. So, we're kind of on the back end of this deal, and, it's got exposed a couple of times, but our region is tough. I mean, you look at McNary, we're up 30-6 on them, and they don't ever blink an eye, and here they come roaring back in the game, and their quarterback is legit, the Kirk kid, and they're Scott, their running back, and man, they and then Yop, the linebacker, they had 4 senior linebackers, and man, they're good. They're a good football team. For them to be sitting at home,
that's crazy.
Either one of us is really kind of a joke, but just shows you how competitive our region is.
Yep. Mike Mulder and Lee T talking Charger football with Covington head coach J.R. Kirby here on the Friday Main Event.
Well, Coach Kirby, most of the season, man, it's been junior Marcus Hayes and freshman Jammer Dow, that have counted for most of your rushing yards. But, man, senior Andrew Scott's been the workhorse the last couple of games. Are Hayes and Dow, are they 100% right now?
No, both of them will be game time decisions. Hayes got hurt in the McNary game. He dropped a pitch. We out there, and he tried to get on it. The kid fell on him on his ankle, which has kind of been banged up since the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
right.
He's never been 100% this whole year, and he still rushed for over 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns in pretty much 7 games for us. So don't know if he'll go Friday night. Jamarian has got a little pop knot bruise on his knee. He's had trouble getting over with. We kind of held them back in practice. So they are not, and we're just relying on a lot of young guys. I mean, we've had sophomore. I mean, you look in our backfield, you look on our offensive line, there's only one senior on the offensive line. That's Eli Patrick. And then Ruffin's a junior, and then our wideouts are all underclassmen. Then Jalen Payne's a sophomore, and then Tor Smith plays a sophomore. AC Mason is a freshman. Jamar Dow's a freshman. Flowers that backs up Scott as a sophomore. I mean,
So what you're trying to tell us is you're going to be good for the next 3 or 4 years.
What you're telling me is you're reading my notes. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what my next question was, Coach. We mentioned you passing game. You got Ruffin returning next year, Hayes and Dow, and that was my lead-in question. I said, "Dead gummit, he's reading my notes again." You guys are going to be tough next year, though. Is what we're getting at.
Well, I mean, we are losing. Caleb Winfrey is back for us coming off the knee injury. We thought we lost him for the year. He's been back, and he played really well against Melrose. And then he played well against McNary. We kind of pulled him out for precautionary reasons because we were up. We'll lose him next year, and we'll lose Andrew and a couple seniors here and there. On our back end, of course, we got Miles Stark, Torrey Bradley, he's had 7 interceptions on the year, and Starks had a big punt return the other night. And then Josh McGarity, a 3-year starter at free safety. So we're going to be missing some key spots, but offensively, and some other spots, we got a lot of young kids coming back. Cooper Barbee at linebacker, Larico Burton, All-State linebacker, will be back next year. We got some D linemen that are young, that are sophomores and juniors that'll get another year in the weight room. And we played a lot of young kids here, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and we've talked about it. I heard Coach Palmer say it, man. If we could just win 6 games, I'm not gonna lie. I thought, man, if we could just compete and win 5 games, get in the playoffs with this young group. But these kids went to work, and we've probably overachieved in some areas as young as we are. But a lot of people don't see that, Mike. That they just see Covenant and what we've done, and you're just supposed to roll out there like go back to state like it's Christmas. Every year it happens. That's not the case. But I'm very proud of my kids and my coaching staff for getting these young kids repped up, because we're young at every spot. It's not like we've had in the last couple of years where you can say senior, and that's just not been the case. But these kids have worked hard, and like I said, that's probably got exposed a little bit in those 2 losses and learning experiences, but that'll hopefully pay off for us on Friday.
I think it will, Coach. Hey, buddy, we appreciate you jumping on with us, man. It's always a pleasure to talk Covington football with you, and good luck, man. Lee and I'll be rooting for you Friday.
I appreciate it. Go Chargers.
Go Chargers. We'll see you, partner.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, man.
All right, Lee. You ever notice how much he sounds like Marty?
Hey,
they sound like the same guy when you're talking to him.
Yeah, Covington's in good hands, man.
Oh yeah, I like
what he talked about right there. Is that region's very tough, but they're senior heavy across the board, except for Covington.
Right.
So I fully expect them to be right in the hunt. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so too.
I expect them to be right in the hunt every year.
You ready to talk some 1A football?
Let's roll with it.
All right, let's take a quick break, play some schedules here, and we'll get Lake County head coach Josh Pucket.
Looking forward to this.
Looking forward to this one. We'll be back after this. All right, we are back here Friday main event. Mike Mulder and Lee Teat. We're talking playoff football, second round playoff football, Lee. We've talked about classes 1A, 2A, and 3A. We had a couple of great coaches on with us. Got another guy, Lee. We had this team as a potential state champion team in the preseason. They hadn't anything changed, in my opinion. Still got to be one of the front runners. One of 4 teams we think are really solid in 1A.
Yes, sir.
And of course, we're talking about Josh Pucket, Lake County's head coach. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
We're good, man. We appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us, Coach. Many people may not know it, but I think this Lake County program, they've actually got a pretty good historically good program. I think you've appeared in the title game a total of 5 times. You won the championship 80, 85. Most recently, your team's under your leadership, 2 straight semifinal appearances. Just to be completely honest with you, before I line this interview up with you, I didn't realize what a rich history Lake County's got. What was your goal heading into this 2019 season for the team?
Well, first off, I appreciate you saying that. We do have a lot of good history here at Lake County. It's something we're really proud of. Lake County High School itself got together, in '63, put together some local high schools, and but from the late '70s all the way through the '80s, Lake County was really a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, if it's NAFTA or what it is, but we lost a couple businesses around here in the school.
Right.
Size kind of slacked off a little bit, so we had some up and down years, and we're now a traditionally small 1A school, so you're going to have your up and down years and whatever. So I'm really really proud of this group that we've had here that's been able to sustain these seasons, back-to-back semifinals, and then this season. So yeah, of course, going into this year, the goal was state championship or bust, and of course that can always get derailed with injuries and things like that, and that's part of the game, But truthfully, anything short of going to Cookeville and then winning it when we get there is a disappointment this year.
Well, Coach, your Lake County squad's been one of the most explosive offenses in the entire state, currently averaging 51 a game. The only team to hold you guys under 40 this year was the 4A Ripley squad, which you beat 32 to nothing. Did you expect your offense to be that explosive coming into the season?
Probably not. To be honest, we've had some guys step up and be able to be consistent players, that we didn't know whether or not they would be in the preseason. But more than anything, it's probably been our offensive line. We took Campbell Pucket and moved him from tight end to center.
That's a familiar name, isn't it?
That is a pretty familiar name. Yeah, he's overcome his father to be a pretty good player. But he was probably the best tight end I've ever had in my career, and we moved him to center. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my coaching friends and even mentors, just thought we were crazy for doing that. They said, he won't stay at center very long, and but he's been just an unbelievably calming force for us on the offensive line. It's like having another coach out there,
Right.
and he's done a fantastic job. And then one thing we've got that I've never had at Lake County is we've got 5 seniors on the offensive line.
That's great.
So that's a pretty good deal, and those guys have really stepped up and played well. And that's why we can be consistent, because they show up every week and they play well, and we can run both ways and do all of our schemes both ways. We don't have to necessarily have a strong side of the offensive line. Everybody can kind of hold their own, and that's given us great balance there. And we've got a couple senior receivers outside that make plays and do good things for us. And we got my other son, Caden Puckett, the sophomore, in the slot, and he's the leading receiver in touchdowns this year and things like that. So, I mean, we got some good things going on, and that's why we've been able to score pretty consistently every week.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, you guys face a MASE team Friday night that's currently sitting at 8-3. I'm sure you've been film studying all week, and probably for a couple of weeks. You see anything on film that's going to cause you any matchup concerns?
Not really, to be honest. You know, I just don't think we're there yet as far as matchup concerns and problems, really. Macy's got a couple kids that can run, but, Booker T. Washington had a couple kids that could run last week, too. So, I mean,
Right.
it's not really any difference there. I think we'll be all right this week. We just got to stay healthy and then look toward next week and see what we get into. Of course, the cheese gets a little more binding as you go.
Right.
Well, Coach, the Mr. Football semifinalist list came out last week, and one of the guys that we personally nominated was your quarterback, Tanner Snyder. He's a 3-year starter at the spot. I think Tanner's got over 1,100 yards rushing and passing. He's accounted for 36 TDs, throw in 40 tackles and an interception on the defensive side of the ball. Talk about the growth you've seen from Tanner over the last 3 years and what he's meant to your program.
Oh, well, Tanner's just a really consistent player. He shows up every day and does his job. And, you always know what you're going to get in with him. He's really conservative. I get on him all the time. He does a fantastic job of taking care of the football. He's thrown 2 interceptions in 2 seasons.
Wow.
And yeah, I know
That's
pretty.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
pretty incredible,
Yeah.
And sometimes I want him to get out there and sling it around a little more than he does, but he's really really safe with the ball, and so that allows me to be able to trust him, obviously.
Right.
And so that's something that I value. He does a really good job with that, and if it's not there, he doesn't force it and that kind of thing. And the fact that just like Ripley the other day, we played Ripley a couple of days ago, and they played us in a different look than we were expecting. I talked to the coach afterwards, and I asked him why they changed the look up, and he said they were worried about our passing game, and that's never really been the case with us. We've always
Right.
been very run heavy. So the fact that Tanner has caused coaches to be able to respect us in the passing, well, not just Tanner, but the receivers and
Right.
everybody that goes with that. But I think that is a big testament to him. And I'm a run first guy and always have been, but we need to throw the ball and we work hard on throwing the ball. And he's been a huge part of that. So we're really proud of that. I think he's got 18 touchdowns, or maybe that was going into last week. So he might have 20 touchdowns and 1 interception now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think last year he threw 23 or 24 and 1 interception. So
That's great.
really, really proud of that. And he's a great kid. I think he's probably a better defensive player than offensive player. And I just told you how important he is to our offense. So obviously on both sides of the ball, he gets it done.
Mike Motor and Lee Teague talking Falcon football with Lake County head coach Josh Pucket here on the Friday Main Event.
Well, Coach, doing our homework, another kid who's had a huge impact on your team this season has been your senior, Larry Tubbs. But he's one of those kids who saw the field as a freshman and has been a major part of your program over the last 4 years. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Sure. Yeah, I love Larry. Larry is the least selfish person you've ever met, as far as he's really, really good player and he can get the ball, and he could have easily rushed for 2,000 yards this year if he didn't have so many other, players around him to spread the ball around too. He's that type of player, and you never hear Larry complain when other guys get the ball. And some games, like the Union City game this year, I think, Larry had 8 carries for like 280 yards or something. It was unbelievable,
Wow.
And then the very next week, he has like 95 yards rushing against Crockett County, because the game flow kind of dictated a different type of game a little bit. So he never complains. He's a team first guy. He's had to wait his turn. He's started in the slot for us the last couple of years when for a lot of teams he'd have been their starting running back, but he was waiting behind Desmond Johnson here, and then when it's become his turn, he's done a fantastic job, and I'm very very proud of him and happy for him for the senior season he's had.
Well, Coach, Lee and I, we've both had the opportunity. I've probably got you by a little bit. I'm 52 now, but we've both had the opportunity to coach our kids growing up, and that's great. I talked to John Olive about this a couple of weeks ago. You know, it's much easier, I think, to coach your kids when they're talented, and that's what Coach Olive told us. Was, you know, you don't feel the necessity to be harder on them to come across as fair. And fortunately for you, you've got two kids that are really good football players. Talk a minute about, you know, what it's meant to you as a coach to have the opportunity to coach those kids growing up.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. You know, before they got to high school, you know, I had a lot of people tell me a lot of different things. You know, some people told me I shouldn't coach them, and you know they didn't think it was a good idea, and they had seen it gone bad before. But I can't understand that. It's been so much fun. You know, my kids have you know, pretty thick skin.
Right.
I'm hard on them quite a bit, and they're good players. I ride them a little harder than I should, but I don't know. Maybe that makes them pretty good players. They're pretty good under pressure. If they can deal with dad, then Friday night pressure is not that big of a deal. I think is part of it. But
Right.
we've had a lot of fun with it, and man, I love coaching them both. And I'll be honest with you. You know, when Cam's gone this year, it's going to be a lot different. Just not having him around. You know, the last 4 years, I will. It's kind of a bold statement, but I will promise you there can't be a way there's another player in the state that has played more snaps than some of these seniors on this year's team. They've started both ways from the time they were freshmen, and you know just played every snap of every game, and back-to-back
Iron Man.
semi. You know what I mean? Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
mean it's what it is. It's Iron Man football around here, and these
Yep.
guys were starting both ways as freshmen,
Mm-hmm.
which you really don't see, you know. But that's just how it was when they were freshmen. We went 5-5 that year, and they've been in the semifinals since. So they've just played so many snaps. I kind of feel like I've been coaching them for 10 years. You know, I'm not looking forward to that being over, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we won't hold you up, buddy, but we really appreciate catching up with you, man, and getting a chance to talk about you and your team. Lee and I have been on you guys all year. We felt that this was going to be a special year for you, and you know it has been, and I don't think you're by any means over yet.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate y'all very much, and it's always good to get the word out about the good kids and good things we got going on up here in Lake County, and we appreciate y'all and what y'all do for Tennessee high school football.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you here in the semifinals. We got that game on our list. We're going to try to head up that way.
Fantastic. Yes, sir. Go Falcons.
Thanks, Coach. See you, buddy.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Lee. That went about the way I thought it would. I enjoyed talking to him. Good down to earth guy. I think he's got a special thing going there at Lake County.
I think he does. You know, like you said, he's senior heavy.
Yep.
You know, so anytime you got that many kids that's played, and we talk about this, we allude to this often. You know, they've been in the semifinals twice the last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
And anytime you take a sophomore bunch from 2 years ago, make it all the way to the semifinals, and a junior squad comes into the semifinals, man, they're played 2 extra seasons of football.
Yep, that's right.
So they're very
seasoned.
very seasoned, and I don't see any let up right now, buddy.
Yeah, that game with Huntington, if it happens as everybody expects, that's going to be a doozy, man, because he's senior heavy also.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a good one. All right, Lee, let's get our last break in here now, and we'll go ahead and get Coach Crabtree on the phone with us. I'm Mike Mulder, and he is Lee Teat. This is Friday Main Event. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back after this break. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about a new sponsor who joined us this season, Elaborate Images. Marcia and her husband, Sheldon, they've been in business since 2007. They've got thousands of customers across Middle Tennessee now. They are located right here in Unionville, close to where I live, actually. But Marcia does a phenomenal job. Everything we've got from them, hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts. They even designed the banner we use now. I mean, they do excellent work. It's top quality work. All the merchandise that they use is top notch. You're not going to get the cheap stuff you get at a lot of the online websites I used to use. So I'd strongly suggest you check out Elaborate Images, and again, go to elaborateimages.com. Ask for Marcia. They've got a phone number contact there. Matter of fact, I'll give you that number now. 931-703-5410 is how you can get in touch with her if you don't want to go online. Again, 931 703-5410. That's Elaborate Images. They've got all the Friday main event apparel already set up, and you can tell her what you want from us. Or if you just want to go out on your own and get something designed for your business, I mean, they're great. They're we've been using them for a couple of years now. She decided to be a sponsor of the Friday main event this year, and we're very grateful to have them on board. So check them out, elaborateimages. All right, we are back here, Friday main event. Mike Mulder and Lee Teague. We're talking second-round playoff coverage. We've had a great show so far tonight, Lee. We've had Justin Palmer on with us. We had J.R. Kirby, Covington's head coach, and then we just got off the phone with Lake County's Josh Pucket. So we'll follow that up. We'll head back up to Class 5A, and the guy that we've had his team number one preseason league still got him number one. And, of course, we're talking about the Beach Buccaneers, and we've got Coach Crabtree on with us. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Man, couldn't be better. A little bit cold, but other than that, everything's good.
It has been a little chilly this week for sure.
Have you guys practiced outside the whole time?
No, sir. Yesterday we were inside with all the rain, and It was wet and extremely cold, and so we practiced inside yesterday, and we're able to get outside today.
That's exactly what Palmer did. So no advantage. Checkmate on that right there.
Well, I don't think they need an advantage. I hope not anyway.
Well, Coach, I think you're in your 15th season there at Beach. You've won 75% of your games. I think you've got 3 title games over that period, winning it all in 2009, 2012. What do you think has been the biggest factor in the teams that's been able to, enable you to have success for such a long period of time?
Well, I think one of the big things is, you got to have good players.
Right.
Second thing is we've had outstanding leadership on the 2 teams, 2009, 2012, that won it, and also in 2017 when we lost at state championship game. Those 3 teams, the leadership on those teams probably stand out more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, we've had you guys number one since our preseason show. You got a ton of talent back off a team that narrowly missed the title game last year. Has this season played out about the way you expected it to play out?
Well, I don't know that I would say I expected it to play out this way. We always, obviously, this is the goal, is to try to be 10-0 and win the region. And that's goal one, and then get into playoffs and try to make some noise there. But, every year's different. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get hurt. You don't know who's going to transfer. You just don't know what's going to happen. And we felt like, if we could keep everybody healthy, we got a lot of guys, underclassmen, who played a lot last year, like you said. So we felt like, we'd have a chance to be really competitive in every game, but you never know how many of those games you're going to win. But it's just worked out in our favor this year.
Coach, we just got off the phone with Coach Pucket, who is currently coaching his 2 sons. Last time I spoke to you, I think was following that 2017 game that lost to Knox Catholic. Now, I know your oldest son, Heath, was a senior on that team. I think Will, who is now a senior, played on that team as well. I asked you that day, what it meant, how special it was to be able to coach your son in the title game. And, obviously you cherish that moment. I believe Heath, he's moved on to play at Cumberland, if I'm not mistaken. What's the status on Will right now?
Will actually tore his ACL week 2 of the season.
That's the reason why I asked. I looked in the stats.
Yeah.
I thought he must have got hurt.
Yeah, he tore his ACL in the first half of the Henry County game.
Okay.
Tried to do some rehab and wanted to come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was able to snap extra points for maybe the Hillsboro game.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, just, decided that the best thing to do was go ahead and have surgery and just try to move forward. He just couldn't do what he wanted to do. So, it's tough, but that's just part of life, and you have to figure out how to deal with it.
Is he still playing?
No,
Okay.
No, he is not.
Okay.
He actually decided that college was not what he wanted to do, and he went to lineman school in McEwen, Tennessee, and is now working for a company out of Gallatin.
Well, good for him. I made that same decision too back in '87, so I'm right there with him. Coach, there's some fairly recent playoff history between you guys and Shelbyville. I think the older Cunningham quarterback. I think he got you guys in the overtime game in 2014, but then you guys knocked them out in 2016. Your beach squad, what do you feel? I know you mentioned you said you don't think they need an edge, but what do you feel as far as matchups? How do you guys match up?
Well, it's really hard to tell. We don't really have any common opponents.
Right.
So it's just kind of their region is a little different than our region.
True.
A lot of the teams in their region are more spread.
Mm-hmm.
Our teams in our region are a little bit more, I guess, eye oriented.
Right.
So it's hard to compare. I just know from watching film, they don't look like the same teams that we played a few years ago. They look to be a little bigger. In the trenches, a little different kind of kid than what they used to have. Their skilled kids seem to have always been good, but their linemen seem to be different now.
Yeah, I agree. Mike Mulder and Lee Teat talking to Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree here on the Friday Main Event.
Well, Coach, we had you pick the win last week against Columbia, but I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised by a 6-3 score. They held you to less than 200 total yards on offense. What were they doing defensively, you think, that caused your offense to struggle, or is this an off night for you?
No, I think they had a great game plan defensively. I think their kids played really well. Our kids, I think, didn't we didn't handle it very well. We shot ourselves in the foot several times, got behind the chains. In the offense that we run, that's not very conducive to us scoring.
Right.
No, Columbia did a great job. I feel like Columbia is probably a little bit better football team than people give them credit for.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
We agree with that.
Their strength was in their D line, and they did a great job and gave us fits. So we were very fortunate to come out of that game with a win.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, Mr. Football nominations came out last week, and no surprise, you got Ja'Shawn Parks listed in the 5A classification. He's rushed for about 1,200 yards, 18 TDs this season for you, and he's closing in, I think, on 3,500 career rushing yards for you Buccaneers. Talk a little bit about Ja'Shawn and what he's meant.
Well, he's a very passionate kid. He loves the sport of football. He loves carrying the ball. He loves training for football. This is kind of what he lives for, is football. And, he's busted his tail for us. He doesn't like coming out of the game. He wants to, every time it's snapped, he wants to be the guy that gets the ball. And, as a coach, that's the way you want your players to be, but also you want them to understand that, they can't be the only guy on the team to touch the football. But I love his passion. I love his excitement. And he's played his tail off, and he's had a great career here at Beach High School.
Well, Coach, Tyshawn Jefferson, he hasn't had as active a role on offense this year as he did last year, but I think you guys have actually used him more on the defensive side of the ball. He did, however, have a big 47-yard run for you guys last week. Turned out to be the game winner. It's nice to know you got an extra weapon like Tyshawn in the backfield, isn't it, Coach?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this a couple times, either on the radio or in the paper. I've probably done him an injustice by not giving him the ball more. Mm-hmm. We have really counted on him on the defensive side of the ball. Right. The last several games. He's big for us in special teams. He makes a lot of tackles on kickoff, on punt. Mm-hmm. He's a kick returner. And we, I guess because of that, we haven't given him as many touches as we should have. But he's a really good back with the ball in his hands.
Right.
So yeah, he's a great player.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, also, you made a change and moved your junior Xavier Jones behind the center this season. Talk about the job he's done running your offense.
Well, he was also a quarterback last year and took a few snaps, but had some issues taking a snap from under center. Just wasn't as confident last year as he's been this year. Mm-hmm. He grew a little bit and really, I think, got more comfortable with our offense during spring practice. And he's just really focused and tried to be dialed in on what we do. And he tries to be a leader. he works hard every day, and he's grown and matured over the season, and he's done a good job of handling the offense this year.
We're talking by phone with Beach head coach Anthony Crabtree here on the Friday Main Event. Coach, one thing we've grown to expect, over the years out of Beach is that you always got good, solid line play. Talk a minute about the guys up front, and who do you consider the leaders for this team in the trenches on both sides of the ball?
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, we have a 3-year starter in Hayden Sloan, our left tackle. He started 15 games as a sophomore, started 14 games as a junior, I think, and then this year he started every game, so 11 games. So he's kind of the veteran of that bunch. And then we have a senior center in Will Johnson, he started late in the year last year, finished the season.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a veteran up front. And then we have a couple of juniors, Logan Sims, Jake McClure. Those guys play guard and tackle. We have Maverick McKeever, who is a kid that just joined us in January, who plays some offensive tackle. And then we have a freshman starting at left guard.
Wow.
Bryson Reeves. And, this kid has everything that you want as a coach when it comes to being an offensive lineman. He has the mentality. He has the ability. He loves the sport. He's competitive. He wants to finish people. He's one of our anchors right now, to be honest with you. And he's had some great mentors in those seniors who are, trying to help guide him and lead him. But he's doing a great job also. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we're playing a lot of underclassmen on D-line. We have Austin Keene play some defensive end. He's a sophomore. Samuel Osteen starts at nose guard. Carter Flatts, a junior, starts at defensive tackle. The anchor of that group is Asher Talbot, who is a senior, plays strong outside linebacker. Also plays some tight end, hasn't played as much as he should have either. He plays, we've been playing 2 other kids at tight end, Jackson Long, who's a sophomore, and then Tanner Seeley plays some tight end also. But back to the defensive side of the ball, Asher starts at strong outside linebacker, and then Colin Woods is our weak outside linebacker. Both those guys are seniors. They're kind of the leaders of that bunch.
That's great, man. I love getting those kids' names out. You went further than I thought you'd go there, but that's awesome, man. I think anytime we can do anything to get a little bit of exposure to these kids, that's really the only reason why Lee and I do this. So we appreciate you giving us a good rundown there.
Sure. Well, the strength of our defense is really in the back end.
Right.
Our corners and our safeties, Brendan Segura and Jackson Dolan and Brian Colon all started last year as juniors.
Right.
So those guys are what enable us to do as much as we do on the defensive side of the ball because of their experience. And then Tyshawn Jefferson is our other starting corner right now.
Okay. All right. Well, Coach, we won't hold you up, brother, but, man, it's great to finally get you on here. Like I said, man, I dropped the ball. I should have had you on, this season, but we appreciate you getting on with us now. And hopefully if you're able to advance to Cookville, as a lot of people are expecting you to, maybe we get an opportunity to get you on with us again.
Well, that would be extremely nice to get that far. I don't think people realize how hard that is to do, and what a blessing that is as a coach to be able to experience that.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate what you guys say, and I appreciate what you guys do for high school football and our kids and our coaches.
Well, good luck to you, Coach. We'll be talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
Coach.
Bye.
All right, Lee. I thought I had tried. He said that he hadn't gotten any. I tried. At least I thought I had tried to message him last year. I know I hadn't yet this year, but apparently I may have had the wrong number for him. I double checked with Donovan before I called him this week, make sure I had the right number. But that's definitely a guy you want to get into rotation.
Yes, sir.
His teams are good year in and year out. If there's any team you expect to be in the running for a state title, especially at the 5A classification, you go ahead and pencil Beach in the top 10 year in and year out.
Well, that whole school over there is a model of consistency in almost every sport.
Right.
Basketball, they're consistently deep into the playoffs. Baseball, consistently deep into the playoffs. Good community support over there. It's a good location. And like you said, man, Coach Crabtree, he's a model of consistency.
Well, Lee, let's take a last quick break here. I need to get a drink. I don't know about you. Let's get a drink, and then we'll hit this Class 4A, 5A, and 6A.
Roll with it.
Friday main event, Mike Mulder and Lee Teat. We appreciate you guys. 1 minute, we'll be right back. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about a new sponsor who joined us this season, Elaborate Images. Marcia and her husband, Sheldon, they've been in business since 2007. They've got thousands of customers across Middle Tennessee now. They are located right here in Unionville, close to where I live, actually. But Marcia does a phenomenal job. Everything we've got from them, hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts. They even designed the banner we use now. I mean, they do excellent work. It's top quality work. All the merchandise that they use is top notch. You're not going to get the cheap stuff you get at a lot of the online websites I used to use. So I'd strongly suggest you check out Elaborate Images, and again, go to elaborateimages.com. Ask for Marcia. They've got a phone number, contact there. Matter of fact, I'll give you that number now. 931-703-5410 is how you can get in touch with her if you don't want to go online. Again, 931-703-5410. That's Elaborate Images. They've got all the Friday main event apparel already set up, and you can tell her what you want from us. Or if you just want to go out on your own and get something designed for your business, I mean, they're great. We've been using them for a couple of years now. She decided to be a sponsor of the Friday main event this year, and we're very grateful to have them on board. So check them out, elaborateimages.com. All right, Lee Teat, we are back. Last 30 minutes of the show. We're going to cover 3 classes. You think you can handle that?
Yep.
You good to go?
Ready to roll.
You ain't going to embarrass yourself on these picks, are you?
No,
So that's a given.
yeah, man. I've done it so many times this year already. It's all good.
Me and you both. I think people watch us and hope we don't pick them. That's kind of where it's at right now. Matter of fact, I think that's what we told JR. I told him, I said, man, I ain't gonna jinx you. I ain't gonna pick your team. All right, Lee. 4A Quad 1. This is how it shakes out. And I had some Greenville people get on me because of you last week.
Really?
Yeah, sure did.
What'd I do to them?
Apparently you picked Elizabeth and win this quad already, and they thought I did it, and they give me, don't you count them Green Devils out yet. He's giving me a hard time. And I told him, I said, I ain't picked this quad yet. Lee did. You need to get on Lee Teat.
Yeah, well, they're going to be madder than that at me tonight.
So I'm guessing in this first game, Lee Teat, Elizabethton and Sullivan South, you're liking the Fighting Cyclones.
Yes, sir. I'm going to Elizabethton.
Sean Witten, we had him on last week, Lee. I really enjoyed that interview as well. Man, we've had some really top-notch coaches on this season. It's been a good season for Friday main event.
Yes, it has.
I'm going to go with you also, Lee, but this game scares the crap out of me. They had Elizabethton had a season low in total yardage. They actually had to block a field goal to win that game. And it was a 14-13 game the last time they played. So this game scares the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to go with you. I'm going to take the Cyclones. And then the bottom half of this bracket, Anderson County and Greenville. If you're up in East Tennessee, Lee, I think you want to head over to Anderson County Friday night. That should be a good one, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this year, Mike, it's a Mavericks' turn.
Might be the year. Oh, boy, you really going to have the darn Green Devil
that's
fans
what I'm
on
saying.
me.
They ain't like me last week. They're probably not going to like me this week. You know I'm a Green Devils fan.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love how they play. They're another team that's a model of consistency. But I think maybe this year might be Anderson County's chance to at least advance to the quarterfinals.
Anderson County's only loss was to Powell. Now, Greenville also lost to Powell, broke that long winning streak they had to begin the season, and they lost to Betsy.
Right.
I'm going to go Green Devils because if I don't, I'm going to catch a bunch of HELL, and I don't feel like catching it. So I'm going to go Green Devils.
So we're going to split on it?
We're going to split on it. I'm going Green Devils. I think Dan Hammond. He's done a really good job
He has,
in his
man.
first year there with that Green Devil program.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
No,
You know,
I think it's going to be a good game. That's like I preface it saying, if you're going to go to a game, that's the one to go to over there in East Tennessee. I think this coming week. Lee, let's swap over. Let's go ahead and go straight into Quad 2. Quad 2 shakes out like this. You've got Livingston Academy hosting a very good Nolensville squad.
Sneaky good, too.
Sneaky good. Now, if you'll remember, 2 years ago, a 3-7 Nolensville team headed over to Livingston Academy, which was 8-2, and Nolensville got them.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you see a repeat here? Now, we're talking about a 9-2 Nolensville team. We're not talking about a 3-7 team.
No, I think Livingston wins at home. I think quarterback play, Livingston's got a doozy. He's a deuce, man.
Yeah, and they
McDonald.
beat Upperman, right?
They did beat Upperman.
So they're tested, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
I think so. I think it's going to be a real close ball game, and it could come down to who has the ball last.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Livingston at home.
Well, I'm kind of leaning that way, too. Nolensville, the only two losses they had were to Columbia and Marshall County, Lee, and I believe both of those games were on the road.
On the road.
So I'm kind of with you. I think I'm going to go Livingston. I think this is going to be a really good game. I thought Livingston played Maplewood well, 27-8 last week. But I love Paul Derrick. He's a regular on the show. I think he does a really good job with that Nolensville squad. But I think if this game was at Nolensville, I would probably be inclined to maybe pick the Knights. But traveling to Livingston Academy, that's a pretty good little road trip for Nolensville.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me for Livingston is I don't know if they've seen a kid like Koutras.
That's true. He's dynamic, and he's just as good, if not better, on the defensive side of the ball. He's got several interceptions.
It'll be an interesting game. I'm going to go Livingston
I
at
almost
home.
went Nolensville on this, and I thought long and hard about it, but I think that win over Upperman was kind of the tipping point for me, and that's the reason why I decided to go with Bruce Lamb's team. Marshall County, Lee, hosts DeKalb County, and ironically, Marshall County's 2 losses are at home this year.
That's
to
correct.
Shelbyville and Giles County. And DeKalb really shocked me last week. I didn't think they'd get by Tullahoma, but they put up 45 points on the Wildcats. So Steve Trout's team looks pretty good this year.
I like Marshall County at home, but I don't think this game. I think it's going to be a close ball game because Coach Trapp he runs the spread about as good as you can run it. Who's calling you, Mike?
I don't know, but I'm gonna have to hang the phone up, whoever it is. How about I mute it out? I don't know who that is.
Somebody's calling to complain. It might be a Greenville.
It probably is.
It might be Greenville calling.
It probably is. I don't need to put that on there.
Oh, man. I like Marshall County at home, but I think this is going to be a closer game than people expect because Coach Trapp, he can run the spread, and they got some weapons. They got some weapons.
I got Marshall County by 14.
All right.
Springfield and Lexington Lee down in Quad 3. Let me throw that up for the fan base or the watchers. I don't know if we got any fans.
You like 14 points, that you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 10.
You ain't buying that, are
I
you?
think 10.
10?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe more.
Springfield, Lexington. This is a tough one right here, Lee. Lexington knocked off White House Heritage 35-21 last week. Springfield, a 42-21 winner over Jackson Southside. Seems like to me Dustin Wilson's team is peaking here at the right time.
It is.
They kind of struggled, remember?
Yeah. But I think they only barely beat White House Heritage.
That's true.
But they're at home.
And again, I think they're kind of peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I say I'll go Yellow Jackets on this one, brother.
I'm going to go with you. They always play good in the postseason.
They do.
He's one of those teams you always expect a strong showing out of the postseason. Hardin County hosts Creekwood. Tough game to call right here, Lee. Hardin County's only loss was to McNary Central, who, as we mentioned, is sitting at home at 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make the playoffs. Creekwood, Coach Steele's team looked really good. They lost to Montgomery Central in double overtime, and then they lost to Springfield. Who you got?
Creekwood, Red Hawks on the road.
Going Red Hawks on the road. I think I'm going to join you in that selection, Lee Teed. I like the Red Hawks. But
like you said, I think they're playing the right time. Good.
Yeah, yep. Hardin County is a good ball team now.
Yep.
They beat 42-14 win over Portland last week, so he's got a solid squad. So who knows? That probably could go either way. Looking at quad 4, Mr. T, you got Haywood, and man, what a great Haywood squad we've seen this season. I think this game right here probably gets ugly. What do you think about that?
Yes,
They
sir.
host Ripley, 7-3 Ripley. Ripley's not bad. They lost to Lakewood. Lake County, and of course they did lose the first meeting 42-7 as Haywood team.
Right.
So
Tomcats.
Chris Smith, we got him first year head coach. We got him going to at least the quarters, maybe further. I'm thinking further because this Millington, Crockett County. Who do you like in this one, Lee?
I don't have a good feel for this game, Mike.
Well,
I'm gonna go Millington at home.
Did you see that the Millington quarterback 406 total yards last week? He had over 200 yards both rushing and passing.
6 TDs.
6 TDs, 3 rushing, 3 passing. That's a pretty darn good night right there.
I think so. I'm gonna go Millington Trojans.
I'm gonna go Millington as well. 9-2. Their only losses were to Ripley and Munford. I don't know, Lee. I can't decide on this one. I kind of went back and forth on this
Me
one.
too. Crockett County might be a darn matchup problems.
I'm gonna go with the Cavaliers.
Are you?
I'm gonna split it.
You gonna go Cavs?
Yeah, I'm gonna split it with you.
Okay.
Are you gonna change? You want your mulligan?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm gonna save that.
You gonna save it, mulligan?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Class 5, Quad 1. Lee, this is an interesting quad. I don't have a real firm idea who's going to take this one either. Knox Central and Gibbs. You look, Gibbs won this matchup 28-17 just 2 weeks ago. Central, your defending state champs, began the season was 8-0. I think 8-0, and then
That's right.
lost a couple of games. What about Coach Rosser, man? Do you think they get it done Friday night?
Man, well, Gibbs went out and beat an undefeated Tennessee or a one-loss Tennessee High.
Yeah, they're good.
I had Tennessee in that game.
I did too.
Gibbs won it 2 weeks ago at home, but they're on the road this time, right?
Yep.
Mm,
I don't know which way to go with this.
I don't
to be honest
either,
with you.
man. I told you 5A killed me
Yeah.
picking it. I'll tell you what, I'll go Gibbs since they got me last week.
Yeah, might as well. They won by 11 2 weeks ago. I mean, how much better has one gotten over the other one? Are the 11 points better?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess we're gonna find out.
Home.
I'll go Central just to split it with you because I don't really know either way. I ain't got a good idea. The next game down is another one. Lee Daniel Boone's playing as good as anybody. They began the season 1-4. I think they've won the last 6 games in a row. Just demolished a good Halls team last week. And then you got South Doyle. We had Clark Duncan on with us last week. His team only losses, Lee, were to Powell. Is that correct?
Powell and Anderson County.
Yeah, and Seymour. Young was out.
That's correct. Excuse me. I'm sorry, man.
8-3 this year. I like the Cherokees.
Yeah.
I'm taking South
I'm
Doyle.
going South Doyle.
All right, Lee. Quad 2. Let's put that up on the screen. We're still here. We're giving you a little break from seeing us. It's bad enough having to hear us. So had to see us too pretty rough, ain't it, Lee?
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna carry on. I don't think you need to see us to hear the conversation. We'll go to Quad 2, and my boy Matt Lowe's Powell squad, Lee T, maybe the toughest darn schedule in the state. I mean, if you look at who they beat Greenville, they beat Anderson County, Oak Ridge, West, South Doyle. I mean, that's
They're
a pretty
tested,
good,
buddy.
That's a pretty good who's who of teams they've beaten.
Yes, sir.
And they've won. They beat West by 1. They beat Greenville by 2. So they've won the close games, which is that's a quality you want here in the postseason. Being able to close it out. Got Ray County.
Are they looking ahead?
That's what I was wondering about. I said the same thing. This is a really good trap game right here.
It sure is, buddy.
Because Ray County's no slouch. Mark Pemberton, one of the best coaches you'll find anywhere, any class.
Well, what we're talking about, a trap game, is because of who they may face
the following week.
On the following week.
They kind of overlook.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm obviously going Powell. I don't see any
that's
reason,
scary, isn't
but
it?
it is a scary game right here.
I agree with you. I'm going Powell too, just because I think they're a more talented team. Ray County's got to travel. Bottom half of that bracket, you got a really good West team, Lamar Brown squad. Their only loss on the season was a 1-point loss to Powell. And they've got Oak Ridge, Joe Gaddis' team. Joe Gaddis' squad lost the first meeting between these two teams 24-7.
Yeah, I'm going to go West.
I like the Rebels also. But, again, this is a potential trap game as well as potentially West is looking ahead to the only team they lost.
That's correct.
To on the season in that potential quarterfinal matchup. So, yeah, absolutely. You better keep them focused this week, Coach. Lee, moving down to Quad 3, Page and Summit. Another really tough game to pick right here.
I told you, man, this 5A ate me up.
5A is tough. Tough. It's always tough. Every year. That's the one classification.
There's so much parity.
There is. That's the one classification every year I can't just sit down and say, well, this team is going to be there because it's balanced. All right, Lee. Well, you going to pick it, buddy? Or are you just going to sit there and look at it?
Summit.
You go with Summit. I'm going with them also, Lee, and the reason why is the Wade brothers. Destin did not play in that first meeting game, won by Page 24-14. I thought Summit was a little bit stouter up front. Now, Cade Walker may be the difference maker here in this one.
And Bubba.
Yeah, and Bubba. That's true. If they can get Bubba going, I like the Patriots.
That's right. They got to get Bubba started quick.
But that's going into the strength of that Summit squad. Gallatin couldn't do much of anything against them last week.
I was very impressed with the line play, Summit's line play.
They're very good up front.
But the Wade brothers, especially getting Destin back at quarterback, he's a difference maker.
Yep.
He wasn't in that first ball game. So
I think Old Meg will have a big game.
I do too.
Old Megwoo.
I'm gonna go Summit.
I'm gonna go Summit too, and I think Old Megwoo has a big game catching the ball because I guarantee you, Coach Rathbone priority one is going to be to shut the run game down. So I think with the addition of Destin Wade back in the lineup and Old Megwoo on the edge, I think those two are going to have a big game Friday night. How about that? I'm either going to look like the dumbest guy in the state or a genius, one or the other. Beach hosts Shelbyville, Lee. We had both these head coaches on tonight. Anthony Crabtree, man, I really enjoyed that interview. And, of course, we always enjoy Coach Palmer. He's one of our favorite. I think he's one of the best young coaches in the state, and his ability to develop quarterbacks, second to none. What's your thoughts there, partner?
Man, I know we had Beach number one.
Yep.
But I tell you what, I like Shelbyville, man, in this game. They're good up front. And I really think, where the problem is going to be in this game is can Beach stop Shelbyville's run game?
Yeah.
They're good over the top.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they can stop the run attack because I think Shelbyville's good in the trenches, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, my young friend, Cade Cunningham, my boy, my buddy. You have got to protect the ball Friday. You've got the team to win, but, man, you got to come in there with ice water in the veins, brother, and protect that ball. And I like the Golden Eagles' chances to win this game.
Well, that's why I said I think probably the run game will be the difference because I think Coach Palmer understands you can't turn the ball over against Beach because they're going to grind it out, keep your offense on the sideline. So I think Shelbyville's going to have a real good mix, run, pass. But I think Shelbyville may have the edge in the trench.
Yeah.
On the offensive line.
And if you remember Coach Crabtree, that was one thing he pointed out, the fact that this isn't your normal Shelbyville team. They still have the skill players they always have, but they're big up front, and that's not something you normally see out of Shelbyville.
And Coach Palmer said Caleb is back healthy.
Yep.
Marsh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge plus.
Yes. So,
all right, Lee.
I hate not to go with our number one, but
I do too, but, I mean, hey.
It is what it is. We're
playoff football, upsets happen. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Shelbyville. I think that's probably the best game maybe in the state.
One of them.
Friday night, yep. It'll definitely be in amongst the best games. Quad 4, Mr. T, you got Henry County hosting Clarksville. This is a battle of Region 7 teams. Any possibility Henry has a look-ahead game?
No.
They won the first meeting 35-13. I like
Henry County.
I like the Patriots in that one. bottom half of now this is a more interesting game here. Tough game to pick here for me. Region 8 champs Southwind take on 2 seed Dyer County, which knocked off Kirby as you predicted last week. I missed that one. I had Kirby. Do I let Dyer County get me again today?
No, I think Dyer County wins this.
You like Dyer County. That's what I'm saying. Do I let them get me again? Do I pick Southwind?
I do. I like Dyer County in this ball game.
Common opponents were Kenwood and Kirby. Dyer County won both games by a slightly larger margin. There was very similar results.
Yep.
So I think the two teams on paper are very close. Southwind lost to Collierville, Center Hill, Mississippi Ridgeway, and Houston. They played Houston pretty closely. It was a 5-point game.
Yeah.
And we like Houston. We love Lincoln Park. I'm going Southwind.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't have a warm fuzzy about that pick, but I didn't really have a strong feeling either way, so I'm gonna go Southwind just to be different. You know how I am. I like it.
I may look awful.
Oh, I probably will, because most of the picks that I made were where you and I disagreed. I was on your side going in, but I wasn't firm on it. So just to make it interesting, I went the other direction.
5A's rough.
5A's rough. Lee, are you ready to go to 6A?
Yes, sir.
We're going to wrap up this edition of the Friday main event here with the Class 6A and Dobbins Bennett, Region 1 champs. They got a rematch with Bearden, but they don't have a rematch with the same Bearden team, Lee. And the reason why I say that, Colin Ironside, their starting quarterback, 4-year quarterback, he was injured in that Maryville game prior to the first meeting with Bearden. Didn't play. Now, since Ironside is back in the lineup, they won 5 out of the last 6. They lost to West. They lost to Maryville, DB, Bradley Central, and McMinn County, but they avenged that McMinn County loss last week. This isn't the same team that Dobbins Bennett beat 39-14 back early in the year.
You are correct.
So, having all that wealth of information, what's your pick?
Dobbins Bennett.
After I sit there and built that up, man, trying to sell you on Bearden.
I'm going to go DB at home.
I think this game's really close, Lee, and I really want to pull the trigger here. But like you said, DB's at home. The DB's lost to Science Hill kind of got me off the bandwagon a little bit. I didn't think that was going to happen. But their only loss was that and Alcoa. Man, I'm really thinking hard about going Bearden. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say DB. Maryville and Farragut Lee, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. However, Farragut did play them pretty close the first time, 35-24. Maryville won that game. But Derek Hunt's team is playing really good football right now. Beat Science Hill 42-0.
Man, they spanked Bradley Central, though, and I had Bradley Central.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I'm going Maryville.
Going Maryville, but it may be closer than what you would think.
Might be a 35-24 game again.
It might be. I agree with you, Lee. All right, so that's quad 1. We got quad 2 now. And we got Oakland and Mount Juliet, Lee. 14-7 game last year. Pretty good game. Any hope of a game like that this year?
No. Whole different Mount Juliet squad. Different team.
They did beat a good Riverdale team last week. I think you and I
did.
both had Riverdale winning that one.
They did, but this Oakland team is, I think, they're as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
I don't think Mount Juliet is as good as they were last year.
I agree.
I'm going to go Patriots at home.
I got Patriots also. Second game in this quad, Hendersonville hosts Blackman. You got a 6-5 hosting a 7-4. Blackman 24-0 winner over Wilson Central last week. And, Hendersonville gave a lot of points. I was kind of shocked. Cookville was able to put up 42 on them. Jimmy Maynard's had the offense going last week, didn't he?
Yep. Well, he pulled out a lot. He should have won the ball game, really.
Really?
Yeah, they dropped a couple of long bombs, a couple of plays that didn't go their way. But I like Blackman.
I like Blackman also. Blackman only losses were to Alcoa, Ravenwood, Indian, of course, Oakland. But Blackman's got a lot of talent. I'll go with them. Quad 3, Mr. T. We about got it, brother.
This is an interesting matchup.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and tell you on Coach T, the Big Ones contest. Coach T's our main sponsor, Lee, by the way. Had mentioned that, but appreciate Jim Thompson and them staying with us 2 years in a row. We've had the biggest,
Yes, sir.
baddest website in the state of Tennessee backing us. So, that's awesome. We appreciate Coach Thompson and what he's done for us. But getting back to this game, Lee, I got behind in the Big Ones contest. I started throwing more money in the middle here.
Riverboat gambling.
Yeah, picking them long shots. And Cane Ridge, 97% of the people on Coach T picked Ravenwood to win this game. Do you know who was in amongst the 3%? Yours truly.
Yeah, trying to make up some ground.
Trying to make up some ground, brother. That's hitting it. But I tell you what, I'm gonna stay with them. I was gonna hedge my bet and go Ravenwood here, but what the heck? Cane Ridge is at home, and they're good at home. And that first meeting, which Ravenwood did win, it was in the rain, Lee, and it seemed to affect Cane Ridge a lot more than it did Ravenwood. 28-15. Ravenwood won that game, but again, it seemed like the rain had more of an effect on the Ravens. Who you like?
I'm going Raptors.
Raptors.
You're going Ravens, and I'm going Ravenwood Raptors.
Well, you're going with the 97%, brother. I'm all hung out there on a limb by myself, so I'm gonna crash and burn with Eddie Woods. Brentwood hosts Indy. Lee, this is another repeat game, 24-7. Brentwood won this game in the first meeting. Brentwood 38-6 over McGavick last week. Indy, big win over an improved Smyrna team, 28-10.
Yep.
Scott Blade, always a good postseason coach. We talked about Springfield, Dustin Wilson, Scott Blade, one of those guys that always does well in the postseason.
Brentwood Bruins.
I think Coach Crawford's squad just too stout this year.
Yep.
I'm going to agree with you,
especially
Mr.
at
T.
home.
Yeah, at home, no doubt. So that's potentially going to set up the repeat Brentwood Ravenwood like everybody expects or expected preseason would probably happen. Ravenwood, White Station. I'm sorry. Houston and White Station, Lee. Sorry.
Show them the quad.
I'm going to show them the quad. That's the quad. Houston Lincoln Parr, Lee. Is he the best running back in the state? Is he in the conversation?
He's definitely in the conversation. I think one thing that hurts him is his size. 5'9" kid, 190. If a kid was 6'2", everybody and their brother would be after him.
Yeah. But does that matter for a running back?
I think it does in some systems.
Yeah.
I think it does because of pass catching out of the backfield.
You want a Derrick Henry type, huh?
A lot of guys now in the spread like a little bit taller back.
Yeah.
Use them as a receiver,
True.
stuff like that.
True.
But if you get a chance to look at this guy's huddle, it is ridiculous.
2,235 yards, Lee, 28 TDs on the season.
But I will say this, whoever gets him, he'll get on the field, and he'll get there quick. He is a baller.
I think he's got some offers from some smaller schools.
Yeah,
I think
he's got
Austin
some FCS level. Probably is an FCS level player.
Yeah.
But he'll be a very good FCS level player.
So who you like in this game, Mr. T?
Mustangs, Houston.
I like the Mustangs also. White Station's playing really good. Reed Yarborough's done a great job with them. 7-4 on the season. They did beat Bartlett last week. But I agree with you. I like Houston, and I think that's going to set up the match that we, I think, preseason, I think we said that this was going to be the matchup in the quarterfinals.
Yes, sir.
Of course, we're talking about Whitehaven because we don't think Memphis Central will pull an upset here.
No, I think Coach Salisbury, looks like his offense is starting to click a little bit too. I know typically obviously his defense.
Yeah. That's his bread and butter.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got 3 SEC linebackers, and one of them could play in the NFL right now. He's big enough to. I like Whitehaven Tigers in this.
I do
pretty
too.
handily.
17-0, they won this game in the first meeting. I think that was just a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
One of 6 shutouts the Whitehaven Tigers had on the season. So recapping 6A quickly, Lee, we like Whitehaven and Houston. to advance. We like Brentwood, and we split on Cane Ridge and Ravenwood.
Yes, sir.
And then we both like Blackman. We both like Oakland. We both like Maryville. And we split. Did we split on DB Bearden?
Split on DB and Bearden. I went
we did
DB.
Split. Yep, we did split. All right, folks. So that is another episode of Friday Main Event in the books.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We get good feedback, positive feedback. You can hit that thumbs up down at the bottom of the video. Lee and I appreciate that.
Hey, Greenville fans, I love y'all, man. I love you. Just got to go with what I think.
Got to go with what you think. Got to keep pick with your heart, can you, Lee? That gets us in trouble.
Hard, I get in trouble.
Yep, I hear you, brother. And that's going to be a good game. I think
I'd
for me it
love
was
to
a
be
coin
there.
flip. So, yeah, me too. But like I was saying, though, man, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, Lee and I would appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. And, of course, that's going to give you notifications when we go live each week. Next week, I'm not sure what day of the week we'll do that. Lee will decide. And we're on Twitter at Tennessee Sports. You can go to the website, FridayMainEvent.com. Of course, Coach T always has a link to our show every week. So a lot of ways to find us. Facebook, you can search up Friday Main Event. When Lee and I get together, we try to work around both of our schedules. Lee's got a younger son wrestling now, so we try to work around his schedule. But when we determine what day of the week we'll be on next week, we'll let you guys know. But I think that's it, Lee. You good?
Yes, sir.
Where are you going Friday? You decided?
I don't know. That Shelbyville game's awful.
It's awful tempting, isn't it? Yeah. If I was going to any game, that's probably the one I would go to. But I'll be with Love Muffin up in Flat Creek in Fall Creek Falls, taking her camping this weekend. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be sitting by the campfire watching the UPN 30 game.
There you go.
Of the one you just talked about. So
yeah, well, you could sit at home and watch that game.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe that might change my mind.
Yeah, that's right.
I might go somewhere else.
I hear you.
Tape that one.
There you go. All right, subscribe to the channel, please. I am Mike Mulder. He is Lee Teat. You've been listening to the Friday Main Event. We'll see you guys next week.